Yo people, what's going on? I hope the audio's good. I've had to put my fucking coat over the camera mic because I'm out in nature and there's a breeze coming through and I'm paranoid because of experience and trial and error. I know the last thing I want to do is look back at this video, just be a 40-minute video of me studio like this, and all you can hear is I've had it before. You fucking send a voice note to someone and then you play it back and you literally can't even hear. You're just unconsciously like getting muted by the breeze. Anyway, welcome. Here's an update video. I did just try to shoot one and I fucked it up immediately. Partly because I have no plan for this video. This is on a whim and is not premeditated like the vast majority of my content over the past 2 years, with a few exceptions. So stay if you please. I have a vague idea of what I may talk about. I know that my content doesn't respect the audience's attention span super loads, and that's why my channel and my name is not expanding at a super rapid pace. But I'm not particularly trying to get discovered right now because I don't feel like I'm ready in a lot of ways, right? I'm just speaking so that I myself can see where I was at the time of when I filmed it, like, because I use my channel a lot for self-reflection. It's just like a tool where I can just look through my black mirror and I can see this. That's what I'm going to be seeing. I will likely watch this video back at some point in the future or listen to it back, and I can just see where I was standing at that point in time. Anyway, so just a super quick preface, kind of like, yeah, I don't have a very strong direction for this video. Often if I contemplate for a while, I can like build a momentum where I cannot wait to speak. I have so much to speak about, how can I cram it in? And I could be in this very sharp executing mode, which is often when I'm sober and not smoking any weed. I have been smoking quite a bit of weed recently, of not the best quality, which is partly responsible, I feel, for why I don't feel so sharp in my execution, because weed can make me less sharp, I feel. But that is quite a rabbit hole and paradox, and I'm not going to get super into all the details about weed right now. So what the fuck am I gonna about? It feels weird, man. Yeah, it feels weird to be back doing these videos because I haven't really, like, in the past month and a half I've only uploaded like one video of me, and it was an Instagram live. I've really slowed down a lot recently again. I'm still in a very demo phase where, like, I'm just like saying a lot very fast to get my ideas out there very quick. I'm like publishing half-baked stuff just because I just want to pump it out quickly to get like this foundation to be my earliest stuff. If I am going to talk on a whim, I want it to be the earliest stuff so that I can bury it in my newer stuff. Like, I don't think I'm going to keep this up in this way for much longer, so please excuse the quality and the way that this video is kind of hinged and structured potentially. I'm just going to fucking speak. I'm not going to start this recording again. So yeah, I don't know where to begin or what to speak about. I do feel, and I've been saying this for a long time, and this dovetails with what I was just saying, that OXSN as a whole, or my whole shtick, #OXSN, helps to interconnect everything that I do and give a fuck about. I do feel, that it's still in its very early phases, and there's so much more I want to do, so much I want to expand. Like, a lot of it is, I'm constantly listening to these really deep podcasts, all these lectures, some of which are way beyond others. I listen to quite a wide range of, if you're familiar with spiral dynamics or like the stages of development type thing, that could help. But what I mean is like, different people that I may listen to, or that you may listen to, they're on, like, each influencer or public intellectual is on a different stage or level of development somewhat. It's a model that can help you understand people. I'm gonna be somewhere-ish on this model. What I mean by the stages of development is, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's a pyramid, triangle, and you can imagine it being split into multiple sections, and at the bottom you have like survival, shelter, food, basic comfort, warmth, and you need that first, and then it goes up. At the very top, at the pinnacle, we have what's known as self-actualization, which is a lot of what my channel is speaking about. These podcasts that I listen to are speaking about self-actualization, and this is like reaching the pinnacle of personal development, or not inherently, but it's about becoming like the fullest, most actualized version of yourself. So if art is your passion, if you wish to become a rap artist or a music artist of any description, or if you want to do intellectual talks, then to self-actualize would be to absolutely like bring out the full fruition of your highest passions. So to push it to its limit, to push yourself to its limit. But they're on two opposite ends. So we got self-actualization at the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and at the bottom we have the basic stuff like food, shelter, warmth, and these materialistic like necessities, you could say, unless you're Ramana Maharshi and you're just gonna meditate into self-realization, no self, no problem style. So in terms of categorizing these different intellectuals that I listen to a lot, including myself, as I'll end up listening to this audio in like a month's time, likely, depending on, in order to define and label each intellectual or lecturer or podcaster with a prescribed label from Spiral Dynamics or Susan Kugroider's 9 stages of ego development model, I believe it's called, or any model that's interchangeable with Spiral Dynamics, kind of. The Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid triangle is relevant for defining what intellectual is at what stage of development. In terms of me, you're watching me, so how can you define what level of spiral dynamics or stage of development I am on? Well, if you cared to find that out, you would measure me with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs to an extent. Where me personally, recently, I've had deep financial struggles and problems. A mix of things. I've struggled to keep these corporate warehouse wage slave jobs, and I ain't got much higher aligned in society for me. I am passionate about things like psychedelics, which are illegal, as I know to an extent that humanity is still in the dark ages. I remember a quote from Terence McKenna saying that the fact that our society tolerates psychedelics being illegal is a sign of cultural immaturity, and it's a sign that we are as suppressed as any society in the past, or as immature as any society in the past. So, I mean, that's my lane. I would love to go deeper with psychedelics potentially, but they're illegal almost everywhere this day and age, so that's a bit of a tricky one. That's not an excuse for my financial problems, but why am I bringing all this up? Can I tie it all together before I branch out into infinity ADHD style and don't tie any loose ends, which is not my goal? I'm trying to get better at staying on track, and I believe I am. It's a skill that I'm cultivating. And this could turn into something that I could monetize if I keep cultivating speaking skills. I know that I have a lot of good stuff to speak about. It's like when I first turned on the camera, I didn't know where to begin. But when I start honing in, my mind has this thing, right? I'll tie all the loose ends, right? But like, basically, what I've noticed is like, it's invisible. My highest quality is invisible because it's in my mind. In order to know the structure of this invisible quality, I have to feel it. And to feel it, I have to speak or think or write or listen in order to feel the boundaries of my worldview, so to speak, or the structure of my worldview, or the structure of the way that I think or my mind. What do I mean? So this is probably like the highest thing that I can offer. If I can upload my downloads, essentially. When I listen to any of these wide range of intellectuals on whatever stage of development, that's not inherently relevant, but I'm very, very familiar with certain intellectuals. For example, like Leo Gura of actualize.org, which I do have problems with, by the way. I'm going to make an extensive report on Leo in the future, and I really want to build off of his work more, because it will really help you if you're interested in anything that I may have to offer. In order to understand me, it is almost nearly a necessity that you understand certain intellectuals, and it makes me kind of down this niche that can be harder for a wide audience, because, like, for example, maybe if you're not familiar with spiral dynamics or Leo Gura or Mr. Traumatic or the conscious rapper community type things, it will be harder for you to understand me and what I am trying to do here. But it's a good thing, yeah, because it's like there's a hidden depth to OXSN, myself, hashtag OXSN. The hidden depth is that I'm building off of people's work that you're not familiar with, maybe. So, to reel back 2 seconds in terms of what was I on about with feeling my mind, feeling the structure of my mind. That's what I feel right now through articulation. As I gain momentum, I can start to like feel the boundaries of my beliefs or my worldview. Beliefs. I don't really believe in believing, as Terence McKenna would say. But that's another thing, is as Terence McKenna would say, as Leo Gura would say, as Mr. Traumatic would say, it's like, where am I getting this from? I've got like a memory, right? There's like some Akashic records, so to speak, almost. Or to tap into the ether of infinite ideas. Or when you take psychedelics, you just get downloads from the ether, right? Magic mushrooms, you just download a trip from the fifth dimension, and then you experience and explore that for the next 6 hours, and then you, like, where are the ideas coming from? What I'm speaking about is, so in terms of the structure of my mind, so to speak, or the structure of my beliefs, or the boundaries of my paradigm, that is relevant to what I was saying about how I keep pulling from different intellectuals. So if you are familiar with my videos, I'm always pulling from Leo Gura, Ram Dass, Terence McKenna, Mr. Traumatic, Illuminati Congo. I will constantly reference almost exact quotes. Earlier, I referenced a pretty lengthy quote from Terence McKenna. That quote, I have an audio of that quote living in my mind, rent-free, because I have that quote, which is a seed of consciousness that was planted by Mr. Traumatic in his song Psychedelic Enlightenment. At the end, he has a sample of Terence McKenna, which I repeated into this camera and microphone almost exactly word for word, and that was Traumatic's plan, was to wake people up through music, through neurolinguistic programming, and I know almost every single Mr. Traumatic lyric off the top of my head. I will do a cover of his albums, like, completely. I will put on a Mr. Traumatic album and just rap the whole thing just to prove to you. Who's Mr. Traumatic? Who's Leo Gura? Who's Terence McKenna? Who's Ram Dass? Well, if you got familiar with them, if you looked at the playlist on my YouTube, if you went to my Twitter, my Threads, my Facebook, my second channel, look in the description, look how many links I have, my Instagram, anything, it's fucking massive. Just pay attention a bit, and when you catch on to what I'm trying to fucking... It's like a deeply interconnected web of intellectuals. And the internet is like the linchpin of it. The internet is so important. We need to maintain this information revolution. And the information revolution, the people that are at the forefront of that live rent-free in my mind, and I literally can ask them because I'm... So, for example, Leo Gura, I know almost exactly what Leo Gura is going to say before he says it. That sounded like a bit of an impossible over-exaggeration, but I kid you not, I've listened to some of... So, Leo Gura of Actualize.org, he has, like, most of his content is like 3 hours long. I've listened to multiple of his 3-hour-long videos, like, 3 times over. So I listened to the fucking 9 hours on each top. Like, bro, I can scroll down Leo's thing and it's all of the red bars are completely full. And I don't sit there and actively watch him. I have done a lot in the past. I try to normally listen to stuff while I'm being productive and proactive in the background. But it's so entertaining to me. Like, if you like watching soaps or comedy or TV shows or documentaries, cool. I like documentaries, but my main form of entertainment is it's not just entertainment, it's learning. It's like these intellectual leaders that I am so passionate about listening to. I listen to them so much with being fueled by my passion for it, to the point where I can actually very consistently intuit what they are going to say. So I've actually, like, I swear down, these people have actually colonized my mind to the extent that I died. I don't think my own thoughts anymore. I think what they think. And I did that on purpose because I saw how these people were much more developed than me in the hierarchy of... in the hierarchy of needs and in spiral dynamics. So I just, like, drowned myself in their talks, and I literally mean that, by the way. And like, I'm taking it with grains of salt more these days, in terms of I'm being hyper mindful of what these intellectuals may have done to my mind, and how some of them, like, I take them all with grains of salt, as you should take me with grains of salt. Because, for example, with Leo Gura, I found flaws in his whole proposal, that is his entire thing that he's doing with his brand. I found flaws in that only after I listened to him for 2 years straight. The main flaw that I find in his work is and again, I'd have to speak to him directly, or I'd have to clarify, and I'm gonna make a video. So just to get this out of the way, yeah, my main flaw with Leo Gura is his bias against conspiracy theories. However, wait for it, because I'm gonna do a reaction video. So he's got like a nearly 3 hour video, I believe, on, it's called The Sneaky Psychology of Conspiracy Theories, which is a very important episode, and I've listened to that episode about 3 times. How do I have so much time to drown myself in these lectures? As I was saying a second ago, when I said I'm not joking when I say that, is because, again, to tie with what I started this talk about is with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm struggling with my finances. For the past 4 years, I have, so I'm 20 years old right now. Since I was 16, that's when I got my first retail 9 to 5, working at least 8 or 9 hours a week, 8 or 9 hours a day, every day of the week, or 5 days a week, 6 days max. I've been doing that for about 4 years now. I need to escape. I'm not up for staying trapped in the system, and that's what my channel's about. It's not just about metaphysics and philosophy and the nature of reality and psychedelics and enlightenment and awakening. It's about grounded personal development, and it's holistic. It's about integrating paradoxon, mastering multiple planes of life and reality, because we do live on different planes simultaneously, somewhat, and maybe not simultaneously inherently, but you can learn to move your consciousness to different levels of consciousness. Most of the time, so far, we spend most of our time in the lower dimensions, the third dimension, but via psychedelics and breathwork and health, etc., and alkalinity, you can navigate via the methods of the yogis, and via using yoga, you can navigate and move with yoga your awareness up different levels and different planes of reality, where like there's the gross material plane on the third dimension, and then there's like astral planes, etc., and then there's like the crown chakra plane. It's hard to explain, but it's very dreamy stuff, very metaphysical stuff, but that's not exactly relevant right now. What am I talking about? So, my channel's about holistic personal development. It's very holistic in general. It's supposed to be aimed at the biggest picture perspective possible of life, and that is what Leo Gura aims for as well. And that's partly why I build off of Leo Gura. So, but he's one of many intellectuals, and I post these intellectuals constantly, clips on my Instagram, on my second channel, etc. And I'm trying to show you this interconnected web of a information revolution. And that's a lot of what I do, is to interconnect. A lot of what I do is background stuff that a lot of you won't see a lot, where like I'm interconnecting hashtags and combining words. I spend an awful lot of time on that. Like, in terms of, do you want to know my new name? If I can remember it. My new name that I thought of, which I've changed like all of my social media to today, and sometimes the coolness of the name expires within a few days, but it is Psilosymbichosis. Is that it? Psilosymbichosis. Psilosymbichosis. That's it. It's such a tricky name, fam. People are going to struggle with that. No one's going to know how to pronounce it. But what is that? When I say I do a lot of work in the background, like in terms of like what is psilosymbichosis? It's psilocybin, symbiosis, psychosis. 3 words in one, and that's my new name. I've done a lot of shit like that, like Psychodonis. That's Adonis from Hamza Ahmed, which is a personal development YouTuber who's mostly in the third dimension, mixed with the word psychedelic. So that's it's not psych-edonis, but psychadonis. So it's not psychedelic, but it's psychodonis. And that is, my phone's running out of storage, out of charge. It's about, Adonis is like the fucking masculine pinnacle of the third dimension, and psychedelic is Connor Murphy psychosis, and I'm combining those words, right? Oxen, paradoxin, that's another one that I've done. And like, my mind does this weird thing where, like, how I thought of, I can't even remember my name. How I thought of my name earlier, the one that I said at the beginning, fucking Psilosymbichosis. Is that it? Psilosymbichosis. That's such a weird name, fam. Yeah, how I thought, yeah, my mind just goes into this weird mode where I just, like, I think of a new name and I'm, like, constantly, like, throwing around different terms, and I go into this weird mode for, like, hours at a time of, like, hyper creativity. Like, I'm trying to create, like, a perfect phrase to name myself or to name a brand, but to encapsulate meaning into the phrase a lot. Like, slumsara was another one, which is samsara mixed with slums. So being in samsara, in the slums. There's more that I forgot about. Loads of them, to be honest. I don't know. Anyway, I need to sum it up because I'm running out of charge. So sorry, what the fuck was I on about for so long? Oh my god, I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, so, yeah, I've been working full blast in these wage slave jobs for so long, right? But I try to get jobs where I can get away with having earphones in, or headphones, or have a speaker out loud. Recently I've been doing some laboured work, I've been painting, and I've been listening to podcasts while painting. So the reason partly why I know so fucking much, regardless of if I'm right or if I'm wrong, I'm always evolving, and so are you. Other than self-realization, that's just eternal. This is the blessing in disguise. I hate working the wage slave jobs, but the entire time I'm in the wage slave job, I am either contemplating or listening to a podcast, or meditating and breathing. The contemplations and the downloads never stopped after the initial awakening, the initial karmic rupture of psychedelic abuse. Ever since then, I've been having downloads forever, and you can't stop it. And that's what this is I'm uploading my downloads. I get the download, so, psilosymbichosis, I take the psilocybin, I go into symbiosis with the psilocybin, which means relationship. So, how I thought of that new name, by the way, is because, basically, I worship magic mushrooms because they are the god. They are God. Basically, when I have access to magic mushrooms, which contain psilocybin, I am a symbiote of psilocybin. And I've been researching, this is this weird mode that I get into where I start turning over these new names in my mind, loads. Info hazard is another one that I like, or memetic hazard, which I made videos about before. So, to be a symbiote to psilocybin means that I am made to be in symbiosis with psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms. So when I am in symbiosis with the mushroom, I actually become a new self. When there is psilocybin in my brain communicates in different ways, and I actually become a different version of me. I actually had a trip, for those who are interested. So if you've been keeping up with me, my journey is, magic mushrooms are the holy grail, and that's why I worship them, because some of us are meant to be in codependent, aka symbiosis relationships with plants, such as shrooms, weed, DMT. You have DMT in your body already, by the way. What the fuck was I saying? Yeah, so if you've been keeping up with me, my channel is a manifestation of doing psychedelics. I was an NPC, I was asleep, I had no fucking idea about nothing, right? I took loads of mushrooms when I was a kid, basically, and I fucking got locked in hell and got tortured for eternity, right? That happened twice. I also had some beautiful, profound, mystical experience. Not just some, I mean, like, I literally become fully enlightened. I became God, everything mounted, I died, I fucking infinite love awakening madness, right? And then I decided to speak about my Psilosymbichosis, symbiosis, psilocybin on YouTube. Stuck between nothing's real and realistic, mess around in the third dimension but still a mystic. I started to upload my downloads. So yeah, I'd take the mushroom, I'd get a download, and then I'd upload the download, which is what you're watching now. Because I'd done so many mushrooms I'd done like as many mushrooms as humanly possible to the quickest ability in the history of the world, because they are the holy grail, and that's why I worship them, because they saved my life and they solved all my trauma, and I am not who I'm meant to be right now. Yeah, so basically, so I had 8 months off. I gotta go because my phone's run out of charge. So I abused psychedelics loads, and that is who OXSN has been. OXSN has just had 8 months off of doing any psychedelics at all. 8 months cold turkey. I have had a bit of weed, but that's not really a psychedelic, kind of. I had my first trip about a week ago, and yeah. So in terms of, so I'm not who I'm supposed to be, yeah. So psilocybin symbiosis psychosis is when have psilocybin symbiosis, I am a different self. When I took the recent trip that I did a week ago, when it kicked in, I looked in the mirror and I went, I'm back. Where the fuck have you been? I can't believe it, I'm back. I woke up, I swear down. I didn't trip for 8 months, yeah? I took the mushroom and I was like, I knew it. I'm back. How did I forget? How did I ever forget this? But you always forget. And this is a fucking universal experience that so many people are having. Wake up, fam. There's fucking plants that we fucking forgot about because they've been made illegal, and when you take them, your brain communicates with the rest of your brain and you become activated and you remember that you forgot who you are.